By the way, how many genders are there? That's a big
It
question that we
it,
should
it is
ask.
it is 157 until now. Like last
Okay.
update.
Alhamdulillah, I'm glad that you're educating me on the latest update on
Yeah, the
new
latest
genders that
update
dropped.
157.
Okay,
Yeah.
alhamdulillah.
Moon Qamar, thank you, brother, for the 100. I don't know what super chat.
Mhm.
Uh, what what are your thoughts on female hypergamy,
Eugenics.
eugenics, and halal black pill? Halal black pill? I don't
I
know
don't
that
know.
there's halal black pill. Please react. Replay factual science evidence to demographic black pill by Merker. So okay,
I don't know what
female
halal
hype.
black hills.
Yeah, black pill. You know what's black pill? It's all about look and superiority of genes and other stuff like the black doomers we call them.
Yeah, like they're
The
doomers, right?
nihilistic,
Yeah,
the
yeah. That
nihilistic. That
this is
e-
there's no solution. Everything is
yeah,
going to collapse.
no matter what you're gonna
Mhm.
do, you're gonna be a loser because that's already written in your DNA based on your height and like jar wide and the shape
Oh.
of your eyes, and they go very deep like in the details. Even they have metrics for it. Like if your
Mhm.
jar is wider than this like standard, so it is more preferable, and you're tall, and they are like very nihilistic.
Mhm.
They are killing themselves, by the way. Like very famous black pillar suicided like three, I guess, in the last year, in this year.
Hmm. So
So I don't believe that there is halal black pill because it is totally based on even it's not based on sexual selection. I want to tell you it's based on sexual selection based on like on evolution theory, but they are not really accurate about even sexual selection because the social dominance factor in sexual selection is is taken under consideration, not just the look of the animal, of the male animal. So the
yeah,
social dominance,
social.
if he loses like in a battle, female will get away from him. So it's not only about look.
Yeah, I wonder what they say to that because hypergamy is not just based on looks; it's also based on social
Of course.
status. So social status, so part of it is looks. If you're better looking, you will probably be more popular. You'll have more status. But
Mhm.
you can be very ugly and also be very influential, be very rich. You might be very funny. A
Mhm.
lot of comedians, if you look at comedians in Western society, they are not necessarily good looking, but they have a
Mm.
lot of power and money and influence because they're funny. They can go and entertain people.
Mm.
So I don't under, I'm sure that they have some kind of response to that, but
Mhm.
I have never heard of a halal black pill. But female
Yeah.
hypergamy eugenics. So is that like because of female hypergamy, certain kind of phenotypes will fall out of the population because they're not reproducing. So ugly people are not reproducing. Eugenics means like you prevent the reproduction of um, less fit or
Mm.
less, less um,
Undesirable.
undesirable
Mm.
population or undesirable people with undesirable traits. So that's what eugenics means. So
Mm.
I'm wondering how female hypergamy plays into that. It's just female selection, but women. The thing about hypergamy is that you're always looking for someone who is higher status than you. So there are some women who are very low in terms of desirability on the sexual marketplace. They are
Yeah.
very low in terms of their sexual fitness or their attractiveness. So
Mm.
there's always going to be someone that will who is also low on that scale to mate with them. But
Yeah.
or to reproduce with them. The problem with the sexual freedom and the sexual revolution, it's depicted as something that benefits men.
Mm.
In reality, I'm sure you know very well about this, but the sexual revolution and saying, oh, you can sleep with anyone, you can go and spend
After
the night
birth
with
control
anyone,
pill.
birth control pill. The problem
Mm.
with this is that this benefits the top men, the most
Of course.
desirable men, because they can sleep with a new person every night. But the majority of men, maybe the bottom 70% or 80%
80%
of men,
actually. Yeah.
yeah, 80%, they're not going to be able to find anyone. because the men at the top are going to be willing to mate with women who are on the lower bottom scale of attractiveness. So is this eventually going to create, is it a kind of eugenics? Maybe, yeah. So, but this is not a problem for Islam. This is a problem for sexual liberty and complete open access to fornication and sex out of marriage. It's not a problem for Islam.
Yeah, I want to add to that. Like, female hypergamy is the instinct mating strategy for female, and that's not necessarily bad. That's good. But if you lift that instinct to act in itself without any disciplination, it can be bad. Such as like the sexual desire for men, it is not like a genuinely bad thing, because of it we exist, we reproduce. But if you lift it without any disciplination, without like controlling this desire, it can be bad. So uh, uh, regarding the involuntary celibate that you're talking about, Muqammar, in historical standard, in the human race history, not all men reproduced. I got that study. It is a genetic analysis study on my website, in the study store. It tracked like a lot of like really huge demographic of people, and they analyzed their DNA. They found out around 8,000 years ago, after the agricultural revolution, the men who reproduced usually reproduced with 17 women. That was the average for single man, and like less than 45% of the men ever existed reproduced. So if you assume in your mind that all men reproduced in the history, no, that's wrong. From scientific point of view, that's wrong. So not every single man reproduced in all societies. Usually, like the higher in socioeconomic status, like it used to be like warriors and like bourgeoisie, a layer of the society, the good farmers, but a lot of weak men in the history, they did not reproduce. Is that an outcome of hypergamy? Not necessary. Like hypergamy can be one factor, and there is other factors that played a big role in this.
Yeah, because a lot of the agricultural societies, they were constantly engaged in war.
Yeah,
And so the weaker societies or civilizations, they would be conquered. And when they're conquered, then the women would become basically the wives or the concubines of the conquering men.
yeah,
And the men who are not killed, they would just become slaves, and they were prevented from reproducing. So this created a situation where you had a large percentage of the male population doesn't have any kind of reproductive partner, but it's because of war. So that's pretty. The genetic evidence is clear on that fact.
yeah. So okay, let's jump on regarding. Okay, we have another super chat. Thank you again. React to.
Demographic blackpill. So what is this? I don't even know. I haven't. Is this an article? Demographic blackpill. Let me look it up.
Yeah, I don't know what is demographic black pill. If you mean the demographic percentage of black pillars, I don't think there is an accurate number on it. It's like they are very few and very hidden.
Mercer.
Okay.
I think this is just a YouTuber. Was it?
Mm.
Because I'm not finding any academic article that has that title.
Yeah, I never heard of him. Okay, getting back to your book, Daniel. It has 4.9 out of. Okay, let's have this. Muqammar, So that's rise of the black pill in young ethnic Muslim. I don't think it's gonna be popular anywhere near like the black pill ideology because it is nihilistic. It denies that God gave us opportunities to develop ourselves. If God's like written in your DNA that this is your description, so you're gonna be loser whatever you did, that's not fair. That will
Yeah.
lead you to atheism, to deny that God is all just. You got me? So it will never be like so popular in our faith, like for Muslims.
And this reminds me of our brother Abu American.
Hmm.
He was telling me about red pill rage. I don't know if
Hmm.
it's the same as this idea of black pill, but so apologies if it's not. I'm not representing what he's saying properly. But red pill rage, where a Muslim youth will have a lot of difficulty getting married,
Hmm.
and it's not his fault. Like these are other external factors because of
Yeah.
feminism, because of modern industrial capitalism, whatever, that are affecting his prospects for getting married. And then he gets burnt out, he gets angry, and he starts hating women. He starts
Hmm.
being very unfair. He thinks that maybe he even commits suicide. Maybe he falls into this nihilistic mindset or
Hmm.
red pill rage mindset. So I think that that is a real phenomenon that's happening.
Yeah. But like the so accurate, like different here to be more accurate on the red pill rage. Do you know Kibler-Ross curve for accepting the truth?
Yeah.
There is a curve. There is a build curve. Like in the beginning, you will deny the truth. If it's like harsh truth, very
Yeah.
cold, harsh truth, you will deny it, and then you will get the rage. You will get the rage trying to fight this new information that you have, and then you will reach the acceptance. You will reach the acceptance of this. Yes, that's right. Unfortunately, that's right. I didn't like it in the beginning, but unfortunately, that's how is it. And after acceptance, you will start to motivate like yourself and swimming with the flow. You can accept it. You will be better and better dealing with it. So this is the red pill rage. Like in the first wave that shock you about the female and male nature will will give you that rage, and then you will accept it. But black pillars uh, is going other direction because they are black pillars for years. It is not like a very temporary for 1 or 2 months, and then he will accept what he read and go on. So they are building like a theory based on genetic superiority. That's
Mm.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Regarding getting back to yeah, I'll have this super chat and we'll continue. Munqamar again. Thank you, Akhi. Jazakallah khair. Why are Muslim world backward financially education on financial education? Do you mean? The education does not teach you anything about finance. I'm a professional business developer, and I used to work in banking for in financial sector in very long time. Education does not help you, like does not teach you anything about money. No, nothing. It just give you the necessary information to be a good employee in financial institution. You do not really understand money. You understand the needed information to be a good employee, like a good boy to the big capitalist. They do not teach you about money.
Yeah, they don't teach you about riba, for example,
Hmm.
and how riba will destroy you. Riba will, if you're not concerned about akhirah, you're not concerned about obeying Allah and His Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Riba, interest, usury, is going to destroy you. And so much of the poverty in the United States is
Hmm.
due to loans that people owe money to banks, and they can never get out of debt because they're constantly having to pay back these high interest loans. Student loans. This is a huge problem that, if you have heard about this in the US, people have thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, and they can never pay it off. No one taught them in school that, hey, riba is bad financially for you. try to avoid buying things that you can't afford. They don't teach that in school. Why? Because they want you to take out loans. They want you to have a credit card. They want you to be buried under all of this money that you owe. And that forces you to work their jobs. You're forced to become an employee. You can't live your life the way that you want to. You can't pursue your passions. You can't pursue a career that you enjoy. You have to go into the workforce in these corporations, jobs that you don't necessarily like, but you are forced because you have to pay back all of these loans from your college education or from credit card debt, or you financed your car, you financed your home. Everything is causing all of this riba, all of this interest to stack up, and you can never get out of it. And plus, it won't be enough for you. You're going to want to encourage your spouse, like your wife, go work so that we can have more money. So she's going to have to go work to pay back the interest. So that you guys have enough income to pay back the interest, you have to send your child to some state school, some institution like grade school that is controlled by the state, so they can indoctrinate your children and perpetuate this cycle of miseducation and misinformation, turn your children into these blind consumers that are going to just take out more loans and more interest being piled onto that, while you are working in this soulless corporate job. If you're lucky, you can get a white collar job. Most people can't. They have to work some service job at fast food, or they have to work some kind of manual labor that they don't want to do because they have all of these loans that they cannot pay off. So isn't this the worst type of oppression? Isn't this the worst type of injustice? So when Allah says that whoever is taking riba is at war with Allah and his messenger, then this is reality. This is the truth. One of the biggest injustices that we see in the world today is riba, this monster of riba.
By the way, regarding that, while you mentioned that, it just clicked in my mind. This information, I believe, like most of the guys who are watching do not know. 2/3 of the educational debt is held by women in the United States. And this number is over 900 billion. 900 billion. The average span, the average period that usually the student will pay the last amount of the debt is 10 to 15 years. So they used to push women a lot to the education system to give them like a lower standard for them, to give them like better options than males. Now over 60%, 60 to 70% of the student in the United States universities are female. What is the product of that? They held over 900 billion in debt, and they will spend, while they graduate, 10 to 15 years paying back this debt. So is that freedom? What do you think?
Yeah, is it free? Because if you are free, like even according to a secular definition of freedom, freedom means you have the choice not to do something. But you don't have the choice, because with student debt, as you mentioned, you can't default on that. You can't declare bankruptcy. If you are a billionaire or a millionaire like Donald Trump, and you lose money because of bad investments, you can declare bankruptcy, and then those debts will be wiped clean off of your slate. Okay, you can declare bankruptcy, file Chapter 11, I think. But if you're a student and you have student debt, or you're a graduate, you have all of this student debt, you cannot default on that. That's going to be around your neck for the rest of your life. And even if you... for most people, it's for the rest of their lives, because they can't, pay it back. It just keeps increasing every year. And some people have resorted to faking their own deaths. Like, they fake their own deaths, they change their names, they move to a different country because they're trying to be out of that debt.
The president, like, sorry for interrupt you. The President Obama himself, for God's sake, he says that I paid the last settlement of my educational debt like 5 years before he ran to the president. This is the president of United States.
No.
Don't you think this is a problem?
Yeah, they don't see it as a problem. They could institute all kinds of policies very easily. They could just say, from this day forward, there's no more debt. We've wiped clean all all debt from everyone, student debt. But they don't do it because then the people who are at the top won't be able to buy their second yacht. They won't be able to buy their second mansion or third or fourth or fifth. Meanwhile, all of these companies, the major corporations, the top 1%, they are able to get free money from the government because the government can just print the money, just print the money for free. They have plenty of money to just funnel into the top 1%, these top corporations, these top investment banks, but they can't print money to, save me and you or people who are under all of these financial obligations because of predatory lending. Student loans are predatory.
Yeah.
There's no money for that. You have to
But
be in a lifetime of servitude.
but by the way, I had like this very scary information yesterday. I was watching one of the economic experts. He says 40% of the dollars that ever got printed in the last 18 months by the Federal Reserve Bank.
Yep.
40%. It is functioning since 1913. Can you believe? That's over than 100 years. 40% of all dollars ever printed is printed in last 18 months. I believe, like Robert Kiyosaki mentioned that with Richard Cooper on his channel. It's very brilliant, like episode. It's very informative if you would like to watch it. He said like they printed over than $4 trillion in the epidemic. That's
Yeah.
it. They can print it out of the air.
Yeah, they just print it, and then a small percentage actually goes to people because of these what do they call it? They were giving people these checks. The government was paying people. I forgot the name. The supplement checks, or the I forgot the official term that they use. So they
Yeah.
gave like people
The support check, yeah.
support check. In the U.S., it was like the total for one person, maybe over the course of the year, was like 2,500, maybe 3,000. Like pretty much nothing. But
Yeah.
there was a lot of money that people had that they could spend on whatever. And the problem with that is inflation has gone through the roof. Now everything you go to the store, you're trying to buy, it's just the prices have gone so high, but your salary is the same. So your money is less valuable.
Yeah, the
money that
purchasing power is going
Purchasing
down.
power has just plummeted. So,
Definitely. Let's take Jawad super chat.
and they just want to appease the crowd. They don't want to say anything that will threaten their following.
Some of
But
them are
it's
making good money,
fitna.
by the way.
Yeah, yeah. Some of them, they're making big money because of just their popularity by preaching the dominant ideologies. Others are actually on government payroll. Like they are making money because of governments paying them for speaking against Islam and subverting Islam and promoting liberalism. So this has always been the strategy of colonial powers, by the way, in the Muslim world, that they will fund these imams to compromise deen
A
and
lot of
promote
liberal,
yeah.
yeah, a lot of liberal media channels. We have like few in Arab world. They are paying for these people to come on their shows. They are paying them like really good money to promote their agenda and to present them like the modern way of thinking. We don't need the traditional way of thinking. We have to compromise with the new factors that the modernity is pushing us toward. So they like the money and the audience is really big factor in that. Let's take that super chat for Moon Qamar again. Thank you, brother. Seeing Fitna, feminist Islamic of North America. I believe like
Yeah, the T
it
is
is
stands
Fitna
for
everywhere.
troublemakers. This is like a Facebook group. They're like losers. They
Mhm.
they just have a small following of feminist losers. Yeah.
And this all 56 OIC Muslim country GDP are poorer of Germany because most of their wealth and resources is stolen by other countries. That's why they are poor.
Well,
You
that's
got me?
part of it. That's part of it. But why
A
is
big factor, I mean.
a big factor, very big factor? No, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. It's like they have created a system of systematic inequality, where everything is designed to make them richer and to make other countries poor. This is the redistribution of wealth into their own pockets, away from the majority of the world. Not just Muslim countries, by the way, also African countries, non-Muslim African countries, I mean, South American countries, Eastern Europe countries, Asian, Southeast Asian countries. But another big factor is that, well, why is GDP going to be the highest priority for us, or a standard of comparison? Muslims, I would argue, we would want to choose, like, we can have a higher GDP if we push all our women to go and work and to go into the workforce. We can increase the GDP of society. But we don't want that. We are fine with having a lower tech society, a poorer society, and our households, our families to flourish, to be happy, our marriages to be healthy, our marriages to have, this true kind of tranquility and peace. That is worth more than this higher GDP. That's more than having this kind of Western technological project and industrialization that capitalism attempts to produce and liberalism attempts to produce. So yeah, so what? We have lower GDP. Guess what? We have stronger families. Guess what? We have stronger marriages. Guess what? We have a fertility rate that allows us to exist and not go extinct within 2 or 3 generations, because our fertility is above replacement levels. These are all things that are that you can't quantify in terms of GDP, but they're extremely, extremely important. Why don't we have a full picture?
We have lower suicide rate, by the way.
Yeah, a much lower suicide rate.
Yeah.
Much lower drug addiction rate, much lower
Antidepressants.
Antidepressant usage, psychological problems. All of this is much less in the Muslim world. So why aren't we looking at these kinds of factors?
Yeah, we have more kids inside the wedlock that they know their fathers.
Yeah, what's the value of knowing your father? Like, you can't put a dollar amount on it, but this is a huge benefit to a person's life, knowing your nasab, knowing like who you come from. Your sense of self is a huge part of that, is knowing who your father is, your grandfather, your grandmother, on both sides of the family. But it's usually easier to know who your mother is because you've come from her. But father, so many in the West, they have no clue who their fathers are. They don't even care at this point. They don't have this sense of heritage, this sense of family. This is a huge injustice on Westerners that is created because of feminism and because of modernity, and they don't even realize it. They just want to talk about, oh, our GDP per capita is so high. Okay, good for you.
Yeah, 40%.
Pop your antidepressants and shut up. Like, that's all we can say to them.
Yeah. He says we have LGBTQ imams here. We got one by Jafar Tok, the DW show, which is Jafar Tok. He had one of them. He was a homo imam, homo imam. I said, where the hell did he find him? Where the hell in the planet that you will find a homo imam? How?
Even if they, some of them might even be actors. I bet, I'm sure some of them are actors. They're just, they're paid to play a role. And this is what liberal powers want to do. They are explicit. The Trump administration was very explicit that we need to decriminalize homosexuality in the Muslim world. And they're doing it, again, through these NGOs.
Yeah. Shout out to Moon Qamar. Thank you. Barakallah fiqh. Lunch PDS boycott India and Hindus on business to save us, Indian Muslims and Kashmir Assam. GS 1890 barcode label and Hindu on business other, please. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. طيب, what do we have else here, guys? I can't take a lot of comments. I'm just picking up the
with jilbab.
Musmatch dating app allow non-Muslim men to marry. Oh, that's haram. That's like very direct, clear. Like how is that? I don't know.
Well, I don't know if they allow. Does Muzmatch allow them, or is just facilitating such haram relationships? So a lot of these apps, unfortunately, they're facilitating haram relationships, and it's kind of implied in their marketing.
It's
I did a video on
Musmatch
Muzmatch.
like yeah. Oh, really? I
Yeah,
don't know like much about it.
it's like it has become a dating app. So
Hmm.
people who are planning to do zina now they makes it easy for for Muslims or people who are from Muslim backgrounds to do zina.
Hmm. Hmm.
Unfortunately, and it would be less egregious, but they actually advertise that kind of usage of it. They advertise, yeah, this is for dating, this is for. So they've lost all presumption of being a halal option.
Yeah, some of brothers